All right, hi everybody. My name is Jay Connor. I'm the Walton County Family and Consumer Sciences Agent. Today we're here with Jason Wright of Wright Insurance. We're hoping to do a little bit of education to inform some folks about insurance. Jason, you want to tell the folks a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. I've been in the insurance business for about 23 years now. I've been an insurance agent, owned my agency for that whole time. I've worked in a couple of different formats in insurance and have worked across a pretty wide range of different types of insurance products, from home and auto insurance to business insurance, life insurance, long-term care insurance, and all those kinds of things.
Awesome. So you're exactly the kind of person we want to talk to today. First, we want to tell the folks what are some common terms people are going to need to know before we get to talking about specific types of insurance.
Yeah, so some of the main terms that people will hear that they may not be familiar with, of course, one is policy. And I think the main thing to remember about when people talk about an insurance policy is it's just an insurance contract. Ultimately, that's what it is. They just call it a policy. Within that, you have a number of other terms. Deductible is one that people will hear oftentimes. That's the part of the loss that a person is going to pay for themselves before the insurance company will pay any of that loss. There are coverages and limits. Those can be both numbers and types of losses that are covered. So a typical coverage limit may be that the policy will protect an insured, a policyholder, up to a $300,000 liability. And that's what a coverage is, or a limit is. And then the last ones that I want to mention are losses or perils. In the insurance contract, it has a list of perils that it's insuring against. So it can be like in a home insurance policy, it can be things you might expect: fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, theft, vandalism, all those kinds of things. They're simply called perils. But people think of them, what does my policy cover? And that's what they're referring to.
Excellent. Before we start, the first thing we wanted to start with was talking about home insurance. If you were talking to a first-time home buyer, what would they need to know about home insurance?
Yeah, so a home insurance policy is a policy that is put in place to protect what they own in their investment. So you have a structure that's being insured. A home insurance policy also does other things. It provides coverage for personal belongings inside the house. So if a lot of people will use the example, if you were to pick up the house and shake it, everything that falls out is probably personal property, and that's a separate coverage within the policy. Another main coverage in a policy is liability coverage. Think of it as almost like slip and fall protection. If a guest comes onto your property and they trip over an extension cord and fall and hurt themselves, you may be legally liable for their injury, and the policy will protect you from that liability. And then it has other coverages and what have you that are in it also that can be very valuable. Loss of use is one of those coverages. It will pay for somebody to live somewhere else if they can't live in their home while a coverage repair is being made, and some things like that. So that's the general structure of a home insurance policy.
So how is a home insurance policy going to be different than a renter's insurance policy that some folks may be more familiar with?
Yes, that's a great question. A renter's insurance policy is really only focused on two main coverages. One is personal property coverage. So all of your furniture, furnishings, clothing, pots and pans, all those things that you would take from your apartment or the home that you're renting to somewhere else is personal property. And then also renter's insurance will have liability coverage. Again, if someone comes onto the property and they are injured because of something that you do, then you may be liable for their injury, and renter's insurance will protect you from having to pay that claim. A renter's insurance policy can also pay for someone to live somewhere else if where they're living is damaged. So we often hear on the news about an apartment fire, and we always hear the American Red Cross is out here to assist people who are displaced. If you have renter's insurance and you have proper coverages, it will pay for you to live somewhere else. You can just go to a hotel that night, get settled, and worry about things the next day, and that insurance policy will probably reimburse you for that. Now, deductibles come into play and all that. Contrast that with a home insurance policy. A home insurance policy has those coverages in it also that a renter's insurance policy does, but it also has coverage for the structure. It's called the dwelling. Think of it as the box that you live in, all the floors, the walls, the ceiling, the roof, all those things. And it provides coverage to repair or rebuild those items if they're damaged in a covered loss. And then a home insurance policy can also have coverage for what are called different things, other structures, appurtenant structures, but they're structures that are not the dwelling, that are on the property. It can be a detached garage, a shed. She sheds became popular a few years ago, and people put a lot of money into these things. Detached fences or fences around property. Those can all be detached structures that would also have coverage in the home insurance policy that are not going to be in a renter's insurance policy.
Something that especially our first-time home buyers are going to be hearing a lot about is a term called mortgage insurance or private mortgage insurance. What is that, and how is it different from their home insurance policy?
Private mortgage insurance is a coverage, a policy that a borrower is required to buy to protect the lender. And that's where a lot of people get confused. They see on their mortgage escrow statement, or they see on their HUD-1, there's this line item that says PMI, or private mortgage insurance, and they think, oh, I don't need home insurance now because I'm having to pay for this. Well, that's not true. PMI is there to protect the lender if the borrower defaults on the loan. That's all that it does, but the cost of that is put back onto the borrower. Home insurance is different. A lender is going to require what's called hazard insurance, and home insurance is technically different, but it satisfies the requirements of hazard insurance. At its core, hazard insurance is about protecting the investment that the mortgage company is making. All they care about is that structure or any other collateral attached to the structure. And that's all that hazard insurance is going to take care of for them. And it's not going to take care of it for the buyer, the borrower. It's going to only take care of the mortgage company. Home insurance satisfies that requirement of hazard insurance, but it's there to protect the borrower and the homeowner. And it has all those other coverages in it so that it's not only protecting the investment that the mortgage company is making in that property, it's protecting your investment as an owner as you continue to build equity in that home.
All right, so in regards to home insurance, what are some examples of some losses that are going to be covered, and what are some examples of losses that aren't going to be covered?
It's a good question. So the things that you probably would expect are covered are going to be covered in most home insurance policies. Things like fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, theft, vandalism. There could be some other things in there. Accidental discharge of water is one that's often covered. That's different than a water backup and overflow. That sometimes is not going to be covered, or you have to have an endorsement to get that kind of coverage. And it can even get into why the backup happened, if there's coverage or not. So the language within the policy becomes very, very important. And as another thing is that not on a declarations page, you can see all the things that are listed for the coverage limits, like the dwelling, and those numbers between two different companies can match, the liability limits can match, but it's the language within the policy that really matters. And it's really tough for a consumer because the consumer is not going to read through all that to understand it. That's the advantage of, again, a professional insurance agent to guide them through that. But other things that are not going to be covered, flood is never covered on a home insurance policy. And what that means is when it's raining and water hits the ground and then somehow it comes inside of a house, that's a flood. The pipe bursting upstairs and then draining downstairs, that's an accidental discharge of water, which is covered by a home insurance policy usually. But a flood is not covered. Earthquake is not going to be covered. Intentional damage is not going to be covered. That goes into fraud and some things like that. So those are some of the things that are typically covered and some of the things that are usually not going to be covered.
Wonderful. You got it?
Got it.
Awesome. Great. All right, so we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to start talking about car insurance. What would folks need to know about their car insurance policy?
There are three main parts of an auto insurance policy. So the first part is liability coverage. It's the part of the policy that pays someone else if you're liable for their injury or the damage to their vehicle or their property. So you're driving down the road, you can't stop in the rain quickly enough, you hit the car from behind, you're liable for that. So the liability part of the policy is going to protect you from having to pay them out of your own pocket. The insurance company will protect you from that, will pay that claim to them. The second part of the policy is called uninsured motorist coverage, or sometimes it's called underinsured motorist coverage, depends on the location, primarily the state. But uninsured motorist coverage is the part of the policy that will take care of you if someone else hits you and they're liable for the accident and they don't have insurance or don't have enough insurance. So for instance, if I'm driving home today and somebody runs the red light and hits me and they don't have any insurance at all, I've got coverage on my own policy that's going to take care of my injuries, and it's going to take care of fixing my car or paying me for the value of my car if it's a total loss. It's not about keeping the other person from being responsible. It's about taking care of me, and that's what's important if I'm hurt in an accident. The third main part of the policy is called physical damage coverage, and it's broken up into mainly two parts: collision coverage and comprehensive coverage. A lot of folks will use the phrase full coverage when they want coverage like this also. In addition to liability and uninsured motorists, they'll also want coverage to fix their car. I don't use the phrase full coverage because in my career of 23 years, I've never had a single client take all of the optional coverages that are available. So is it really full coverage? So I just refuse to use that phrasing. But most people mean that they want coverage that will fix their car also, which is collision and comprehensive coverages. Collision coverage is just what it says. If you're going down the road and you impact something or something impacts you, technically that's a collision, regardless of who's at fault. Technically it's a collision. And the collision part of the policy will pay to fix your car or pay for up to the value of your car if it's a total loss. There's a deductible that people can choose. Most common, we used to see most common was probably $500. Now we're seeing a lot of $1,000 deductibles. And we actually see deductibles higher than that if the car's value justifies it. Then there's comprehensive coverage, which is the other part of physical damage coverage. And that's coverage for things like theft, vandalism, storm damage. If you're parked in the driveway during a storm and a big branch falls off the tree and lands on top of the car, that's a comprehensive loss from storm damage. It also has a deductible. I usually suggest that people look at lower deductibles on that because the cost savings to go to a higher deductible is usually not warranted. So I want to find value in the policy for people, and that's how one way they can find that value. So those are the three main parts of an auto insurance policy.
You know, I'm really proud of my new car. I worked so hard to buy it a few years ago. But what do I need to know about how can I make changes to my policy as a vehicle ages?
That's a great question. So one of the things that I see way too often is that people will be paying for collision and comprehensive coverages that they may not benefit from. So keep in mind, the liability coverage you have to carry regardless of the vehicle, regardless of how old it is or how new it is. That's required by Georgia law just to get on the road and drive. But collision and comprehensive coverages are optional. Now, if you have a loan, then you've got to carry those coverages. The loan contract that you have is requiring you to carry that coverage until you satisfy the loan. But once the car is paid off, you can choose whether you want to continue that coverage or not. The way that I suggest that people look at it is, what's the value of the car? So,
all right, what other variables change the cost of my car insurance policy?
Yeah, so obviously the vehicle that you have is a big factor. It used to be that newer cars were going to be more expensive to insure than older cars. That's not always the case anymore. And as a car ages, the cost may not be going down, and a big part of that is probably because of inflationary impact. But the other variables other than the car that's going to impact your insurance cost is your age. Gender in younger ages has an impact. A 16-year-old male is more expensive to insure than a 16-year-old female. And so the insurance company is going to charge a little bit more for that younger male driver than they would the younger female driver. So age can have some impact on it. Driving history is probably the next biggest impact. moving violations, whether it's speeding or running a stoplight or something like that. Those all have an impact on it. And then the claims history. So it used to be that people, and still a lot of times, will say, okay, I have damage to my car, I'm going to file a claim. That may not be the right choice up front. I really do suggest that people at least find out what it's going to cost. Now, if someone hits somebody else or they damage somebody else's property, they just need to file the claim. They run the risk of giving up coverages if they don't notify the insurance company of that loss. But if you back into your mailbox and nobody else is impacted in that situation, I don't know that I would file a claim to fix my car before at least going to find out what it's going to cost to fix it, because you may find out that the cost to fix it is below your deductible anyway, and so you may just need to pay out of pocket to fix it. Your coverage limits and deductibles will impact your cost. If you have less coverage, it's going to cost less. The downside of having less coverage is you may not be protected in a bad situation. Somebody can still sue you, and even though you may not have a lot of assets now, as I understand it in Georgia, they can actually attach your future income to settle that suit if you don't carry enough coverage. And then deductibles can also be a way to control costs. It's how much will you pay out of pocket to fix your car before the insurance company pays to fix it for you.
Excellent. We're going to finally move on to life insurance. What are the basics that people need to know about life insurance?
So there are generally speaking, two types of life insurance. Permanent life insurance, which is designed to be there for the rest of life, no matter how long that is. So if somebody wants to have life insurance coverage, if they lived to 92 or 101, into their 80s even, then permanent life insurance is the way that you take care of that need. On the other hand, you have what's called term insurance, and it's more of a temporary insurance. It's for a specific term period of time. So that can be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Usually they don't go past 30 years, but you can get coverage for that specific period of time. And so that type of insurance, term insurance, is used when the coverage need is going to go away at some point. So use your home buyer example. A lot of times people will call me because they're buying a home and they know that they want some way to pay the home mortgage off if something happens to them so that the family doesn't have to leave the home. And so you can do that through a 30-year term life insurance policy. It fixed the cost for that 30-year period. It's a fixed benefit also, but we know that coverage that need is going to go away at some point down the road. Other common examples are education expenses. If we know we want to make sure that that their children can go through college, well, if the youngest child is newborn, well, then you don't need coverage past about 22, 23 years because they're going to be through college at that point. And so you can get a term insurance policy for that, which is more cost effective than a permanent insurance policy.
All right, now why is life insurance important? And, to be a bit frank, we're all going to die, so why do insurance companies sell it to us?
Yeah, so life insurance is important because people are often relying on the incomes that we have. So for instance, in my household, I'm married, I have 4 children. They rely on my income as a part of their sustenance. And so if I'm not in the picture any longer, I have life insurance in place that will take care of them so that they don't have, hopefully, a significant lifestyle change. A family member passing away is devastating. Emotionally, mentally, it's draining, it's exhausting. It's a very hard thing to go through grief. And what life insurance does is it at least takes away the burden of the financial impact of that family member not making it home one day. So that's why life insurance is important. Sometimes in some situations, people are required to get life insurance. For instance, we do a lot of business insurance and people have SBA loans. And a lot of times the SBA will require them to have a life insurance policy to back up that loan they're giving them. And so that's another example. Why do life insurance companies sell life insurance when we're all going to die? Well, insurance is all about the chance of a risk happening during a specific period of time. So for instance, with life insurance, the insurance company is looking at the odds of me, a male at my age, my health condition and all that. What are the odds of me dying in a specific period of time? Well, in 10 years, that's very little. At my age, in 20 years, it's higher, and at 30 years, it's a good bit higher. But the insurance company knows the statistics of that. And from that, they can then say, we're going to charge a rate so that 1,000 people like me are going to pay into that rate so that those of us who do die during that time period, the benefit will be paid out, and the insurance company is able to keep a little bit of that money. I mean, that's ultimately how it works and why they do it. Again, it comes down to the benefit of why do I spend the money on that life insurance, and it's so that my family or those that rely on me can be taken care of if I'm not in the picture anymore. So it's a give and take. Insurance, all insurance, is about spending nickels for dollars. That's really what it boils down to. I'm going to give the insurance company nickels or maybe dollars. Maybe I'm going to give them $1 bills, but they're going to put back $10 and $20 and $50 bills, depending on what the insurance coverage is and all that kind of thing, to take care of that circumstance for you.
All right. Finally, what are some common mistakes that you see people make when shopping for insurance, and what should they be talking to their insurance agent about?
Yeah, so the probably the biggest issue that I see, and it's on both sides of the table, not just with consumers, but also with insurance people, is that they start and stop with price. And that's not always the right answer. Sometimes it is. A lot of times it's important. I mean, it's a part of the overall equation about what's the price, but that is often thought of best in terms of value. I can go to store A, and I can buy their on sale off-brand version of green beans in a can. Or I can go to the farmer's market and I can get fresh green beans. I'm gonna pay more per pound for those green beans than I do for the canned green beans. But the value to me is that those fresh green beans are a whole lot better tasting, more nutritious, all those kinds of things. So it comes down to value, not just cost. So that's one of the issues that we often see. And unfortunately, too many people on my side of the table are only showing based on cost. They're not taking the time to actually educate people so that they can make the decision about what's best for them and their family. The other thing that I would suggest to people is that they kind of have an interview as they're shopping for insurance. First of all, if someone's calling an 800 number to get quotes, you're never going to talk to the same person twice. That person is only going to do what you ask them to do or tell them to do. They're not going to make sure that what they're doing for you is actually what's best for you. So sometimes that has to happen, and that's fine. But when you start getting local with an insurance professional, take the time to almost interview them. Find out about their experience. Find out what they enjoy doing. Find out how they interact with people based on how they're interacting with you. I promise you, if you feel like you're just a number and you're just another piece of work that they're moving across their desk, when it comes down to crunch time, you're probably not going to feel any differently. I've gotten that call at 4:30 in the morning from a client that their house was burning to the ground. And I could tell them with complete confidence, you don't need to worry. Because I knew that I had done everything correctly based on what they wanted to happen and based on what was best for them. And I could go about my day without having to be concerned that something was going to jump up and bite them. But that's the important part of it, is making sure that the person that you're talking with really cares about you, really wants to understand what's best for you, and then show you how that can be achieved. Now, that may not be affordable, and that's fine, but at least then you have a starting point to say, okay, I need to cut costs, so how can I cut my costs some? And then they can advise you about ways to do that so that ultimately you're making the decision about what you want, how much you're willing to spend, and then what risk you're willing to take on yourself. The other aspect of insurance professionals is that you have kind of generally two types of insurance people. You have what are called captive insurance agents that only represent, or primarily only represent, one company. They're only going to offer that as the solution for someone. They're only going to offer their options and that policy to someone. And they are legally an agent of that company. They are representing that insurance company legally. On the other end of the scale, you have what are called independent agents. And those agents will represent multiple companies. They may be acting as an agent for an insurance company, but they're also acting almost like a broker, and sometimes legally as a broker for the consumer. And so in that case, they're representing the consumer to the insurance company and then providing to the consumer what the insurance company is willing to offer. And so it can be some different ways of interacting there. The biggest advantage, I think, of an independent agent is that they often represent multiple companies. So in our office, we work with about a dozen home and auto insurance companies, and so we're able to check the market over a wider area of the market. Now, we may just come to a person with one option to propose to them, but we've oftentimes checked all those different companies to see what the best option is. So it kind of gives the consumer an opportunity to shop a bigger part of the market with just one agency or one person.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Jason. As always, this is for educational purposes only, and we would encourage folks to make smart decisions and converse with their insurance agents with what's going to be best for their family. So, Jason, thank you so much for your time.
Gladly.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful in the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Staying crazy busy here at the center. Already this month we're well on our way to having over 2,000 cars across our scales. So definitely wanted to thank everybody that's coming out and using the center. Come out and see us. Give us a call if you have any questions. We'd be happy to get you recycling. We really enjoy all the business we have here and people coming out to see us. Did want to point out, we're starting to see, a lot of cars come in with mixed loads. They may have, some household trash mixed with tires, mixed with the mattress. Just as a reminder, the tires and the mattresses, there's a flat fee for those. They go in a completely different location. So when you're loading your trailers or your truck or whatever, if you have a mattress or if you have tires that you're going to be bringing in, have them to where you can either get to those first or have your trash to where you can get to it first. But having it all mixed up is causing people a lot of extra work and time. If you kind of keep those things separate, again, there's different locations for those items and a flat fee for those, to whereas any household trash, furniture, that kind of thing is all charged by the weight. You would just be dumping it on the pad and paying for the weight of that. So keeping that separate will allow you to get your tires and mattress off, pay the flat fee, and not have to pay the fee of their weight plus the flat fee. So it'll save you a few dollars or time. So been seeing quite a bit of that going on. So just like I said, I'm trying to save you some time and money down here when you do come. If you have any questions about that, if that's confusing at all, give us a call down here. We'll explain it, try to make your visit as easy as possible. Our number down here is 770-267-1421. And we're getting a lot of mattresses in right now. Just a reminder that unless you have a king set with like the king mattress and the two like twin box springs, outside of those as the exception, we have a limit of 2 mattresses or box springs at a time. So just basically want to give everyone an opportunity. We can only take in so many before we're full. And, you know, we don't want to allow some people to come in with 15 or 20 mattresses when somebody that's just purchased a new mattress and only has one can't even get rid of it. So we did put a limit for now to 2 per customer. So, and looking forward, I did want to remind you that we do have a document destruction coming up at City Hall in Loganville. That'll be Saturday, April the 26th from 9 to 11. If you have any questions about the event, give us a call. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about that. Again, that will be Saturday, April the 26th at the Loganville City Hall from 9 to 11. We're still looking to add a document destruction event here in Monroe. We checked on a couple of dates that worked for us and it didn't work for the company. So we're still working through that, and we're going to try to have one of those, if nothing else, by summertime. So I'll keep you posted on that as we move forward. But as of now, we don't have anything posted here at the recycling center. But we are working on it. And like I always do, come out and see us. We continue to grow here. We're staying, you know, as busy as can be, but we enjoy that. We love seeing new people come in. We love seeing new recyclers helping people get started recycling, and we think we can continue to grow. So give us a call. Again, our number is 770-267-1421. Look forward to seeing you and hearing from you, and until next time, take care.
Monroe's coming along, just as we were talking about here at lunch. It's a different place than when I moved here 18 years ago. It's definitely a different time, different dynamic is going on. I know Kiwanis, I believe, is We Build, right? And that's one of the legends of Kiwanis. We don't really know. Okay.
At one point.
At one point, We Build. So. So in much the same fashion, like Monroe, we are building. So right now, I think one of the major takeaways is that we're embarking, or have been embarking on, one of the most progressive infrastructure and capital improvement campaigns in the last 50 or 60 years with the city. So I always like to tell our council, like, you guys approved a really good revenue bond package about 5 years ago, late 2020. And that has allowed us to put more infrastructure in the ground than we have in decades. Brand new infrastructure, water lines, sewer lines, fiber internet, as most of you are aware. We're trying to create value for the community. It's not just we're doing things to be a city. We're trying to create that value so that, you know, our private businesses have something to thrive on. And I just had a city council retreat not too long ago, and they wanted me to kind of itemize a few priorities that we're working on right now. And I said, guys, this is really hard because I have like 25 things that we have going on right now. So we're doing a lot of juggling, and I won't go through them all, but I mean, it's just everything from the transportation side to, again, the water and sewer infrastructure, all the utilities, gas, electric, you name it. We're a very unique city. I think there's only about 5 of us in the state that do what we do, and a lot of cities call themselves full service cities, but we are in fact truly full service. I mean, we do just about everything you can think of other than rec programs. We do offer parks, but we don't have rec programs. But it's an interesting place to be. There's never a dull moment in the city of Monroe. And you know, what we're trying to do is just set the table again for success. And I think we're starting to see those seeds come to fruition now. We're starting to see the changes in the communities. A lot of people use the term gentrification with a negative connotation, but it's not necessarily negative when you're improving the neighborhoods, you're improving the lives of the people that actually live there. Nobody's being pushed out. We're actually just creating like a renaissance of Monroe, so to speak. Just trying to set that table for the developers and builders to do that.
but without overdoing it as well. If you've noticed over the past few years, we've really tried to put an emphasis on our code rewrites and how we do our development regs and things like that. We've recently moved into a form-based code, and if a lot of you don't know what a form-based code is, you usually only see them in places that people want to go vacation in, right? Like Seaside, Florida, or Miami Beach, or someplace like that. It makes you think a lot more holistically about how you want to develop your community. And so that's what we've recently put into place, so that we can become that sustainable long-term community. We don't want to be just, a suburban sprawl type of community, and we want to be very deliberate and intentional about everything that comes out of the ground. Now, that's not to say that there's some things that are coming out of the ground that maybe meet the intent of what we have now. Some of these things are legacy projects from years and years ago. 20 plus years ago, the thinking of the city was probably a lot different than it is now. Not saying that they were wrong, but times have changed. They went through a large annexation program 20 plus years ago, and a lot of development was kind of conditioned into buy right type status. And now you're starting to see developers pick up some of these properties. And even though we've changed some of our codes, there's only so much we can do with some of these buy right conditions. And they're being built, or they will be built. But Monroe gets a lot of the blame for growth, traffic, congestion, so on and so forth. But any guesses as to about how many building permits, single family building permits we issued in 2024?
not 59.
No. We had, in 2024, how many single family residential building permits?
100.
100? 25. 25.
25.
25. That's different than development permits, where people are going out and starting the groundwork for development. Actual building permits, 25 permits. And so, that's the tale I'm trying to tell people, like, this is not necessarily the city's fault that we're pushing all this traffic and everything. A lot of this traffic that you're seeing is people, one, coming into Monroe to do business, two, passing through, which the bypass will help alleviate when that comes online in a few months. And then three, like just the growth of Georgia and the Southeast economy as a whole, this general pass-through traffic, and then other industries that are, communicating with each other. That's the bulk of your traffic. That's where it's at. So it's pretty evident if you come to town at 8 o'clock on any given night, that's dispersed, that's done. That's the real Monroe, so to speak. It's just we have those pain points during the day. I am working heavily with GDOT on a lot of projects. I work with them every day. As you know, GDOT can be a little slow, but they have the whole state to deal with. I'll put that nicely. But they are giving us some attention, finally. Over the last couple of years, they're really giving us some attention. I'm currently working, one of my top priorities is traffic signalization at 11 and 78. Up there near the Monroe Pavilion. We've got to do something soon because all the bypass traffic will be getting off there. So trying to get the state to understand that this is a priority, and even if we partner and pay for it, we got to get this thing signalized. And then in a couple weeks, I'm going down to the Gold Dome and meeting with some legislative delegation and GDOT chiefs, everybody at the top, to try to get the northern arc of the bypass put in. That would go from Unicia Drive back up to somewhere around the John Deere Road area. The chairman's going to be there, the mayor will be there. So hopefully we can all put our collective heads together and come up with a good plan and get some buy-in down at the state to get that
Is
done.
that path already laid out where that would go?
In general it is, it's got to get a GDOT blessing. The path that we've come up with is the least impactful to property owners and also the cheapest to county and city taxpayers. So it kind of works out on both fronts. We just have to get a blessing from the state on that. So that'll be a huge deal if we can get that completed. That fully get rid of your truck issues and keep 78 from jamming up. And then, as you know, we're going to hopefully get 2,000 trucks a day out of downtown here by about September, October. That's the plan there. So those are some of the big initiatives I'm working on, and every day is different, new challenge, new problem, but I enjoy what I do for the city, and it's no 2 days are alike, I'll tell you that. I wanted to keep it interactive, so I told Keith that I'd be happy to take any questions, something's burning your mind up about what's going on with this or this. I'll be happy to take those questions.
I should have warned you that Paul would be here.
I'll start.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What,
I'll do the best I can to answer
what
different
about the sewer system? Is it ready for more people? Is it adequate sewer system?
Good question. It is not ready for a lot more people. What we've done is kind of drawn down the area that will allow new sewer taps. Basically, it's the original downtown area, so to speak, maybe a little bit larger, but we're encouraging redevelopment. Utilize as many of the existing or old sewer tap areas as you can, because those calculations already exist, right? We already have certain capacities designed from homes that may have existed years ago. And we have room to incrementally grow, a home here, a home there. So we currently have a moratorium preventing preliminary plats for anything over 9 units. So no major subdivisions right now. We can't do that anywhere in the city. So we'll allow some level of incremental growth because you don't want to completely stop it. But right now we're designing engineering on a new plant to get us to somewhere over 6 million gallons per day. We're a little over 3 million gallons per day max right now. So one day there will be plenty of capacity, but we've also rewritten those zoning rules so that we don't get the wrong product, so we don't get a 2,000 home development that we can't support with not just sewer but for roads as well. So we're trying to be very deliberate with everything we're doing. But yeah, sewer we're in the works. I think it'll be another 18, 24 months before we even begin construction on the plant.
And water, is it in pretty good shape?
Water is in excellent shape. There was a lot of good foresight by John T. Briscoe years ago when he did the reservoir. Our plant is excellent, state-of-the-art water plant up there on North Broad Street. Really proud of our water infrastructure. It's one of the best in the state. We have plenty of capacity, great water lines. We actually are building a first new water line since I think the 70s right now that's coming out of the river for raw water, and then a new larger distribution line out of the plant as well. So we're working on that right now as we speak.
I know you used those microfilters. I think it was really the latest technology when you did that. Is that
That's right.
still good technology?
It is. It's fairly expensive, but it's very good technology. A lot of places still use sand filters, and there's nothing wrong with that. It seems to be the standard everywhere, but our plant is state of the art. It's super clean water, and can't complain about that.
Did you have a question?
I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Parking downtown, what plans do you have plans?
Yeah, we do. So again, we're taking an incremental approach. Okay. A lot of people say, "Hey, we need a parking deck." That'd be a nice to have, but at $35,000 per space, that's not really in the cards right now. Okay, that's not a great use of our tax dollars. So we are expanding Wayne Street parking lot.
Okay.
We want to keep a few of the nice trees there. We want to keep a little bit of green space, put in a bioswale or something to handle the stormwater. But that'll add about 52 parking spaces.
Okay.
Okay. So right now we're just shy, I think, of about 1,000 publicly available parking spots in downtown. You just have to be able to walk them. That's our biggest challenge, is getting people to say, "Hey, I can walk to your store from where I'm parking, and it's actually shorter than walking to the milk aisle in Walmart from the middle of the parking lot." And it's just a mindset that we have to change, and we're trying. It's just that is the challenge. People got used to going to the big box stores for the last 30, 40 years, and it's easy, and people are just not really adapting to that walkable format. Yeah, you might have to stop at a crosswalk for a minute, but we're trying to create the downtown environment to where you enjoy the walk along the way, right? So that's what we're trying to do, trying to clean it up and keep it beautiful.
So the 52 lots will be there when they used appliance place
Yep.
was there.
Yeah, we're gonna wipe that out. Probably extend the sidewalk a little bit back there so that everything kind of reconnects.
And that's a lot of parking spaces. That'll be very helpful.
No, I think that would
It
be.
should be.
Yeah, 52 is a lot.
What's happening on Madison Avenue where you tore out all those warehouses?
So that was a kind of a multi-pronged approach to redevelopment, I guess. Where we tore down the warehouses, number one, those old warehouses were number one on our ISO list, Insurance Safety Office. So when we get rated for fire services, they look at your most, I guess, dangerous or flammable structures, and it was the top one. So we said, man, this keeps us from getting a better rating in the future. Can we get rid of it? So we did that. But also in the future, I think it's ripe for some sort of quality infill redevelopment. And then what we would do is use, we have an urban redevelopment agency under the government umbrella that we can use to help find the right development partner for that infill development. I don't think we're going to do it in the next year or two, but somewhere down the line, we would look at some sort of redevelopment there. And then, of course, further up at Davis Street, it's already out there, but we've released a request for proposals on a hotel. We're looking for a boutique hotel, infill type development, but branded. We don't want it to be just kind of like a highway model, something that's not going to be sustainable and last very well. We want something that'll be a quality development for the next 50, 100 years for the town. So we have some interest in that from different parties around the state who have done similar products in other similarly sized cities. So we'll see what fruit that bears in about April, May, when those are due back.
Hi, I'm Jody Johnson. I'm here with another recreation report. Want to talk about a little bit of the things that the growth of the Parks and Recreation Department first. One is the Walnut Grove Park that is on schedule. A lot of the infrastructure that was going vertical is done. So if you're riding by on Highway 81 where the old Corn Dogs was located, you'll see the athletic fields lights are up. A lot of the buildings are up and dried in. They tried to get all that done before the winter weather hit so they could continue working on the inside. A lot of the roads that are inside the park are built, and this phase of the park is a little more expensive. Well, it's a lot more expensive because a lot of the infrastructure on that large portion of 240 acres is having to be developed. All of the stormwater that you can't see, but it had to be done. The roads that are in there. There's a roundabout inside that park. There's going to be a red light put out on Highway 81 to handle the school traffic, the fire station that's there, and the traffic coming in and out. It's going to explode there. So that's part of this project, which will be going in over the next couple months. You'll start seeing some road diversions that are going in there on Highway 81. So if you're in that area and you see that over the next few months, it's important to see that, and we're just trying to improve the overall traffic flow in that area. Adding the water and the irrigation, it's a major project, and this is something the entire county will be able to use. It's not just for Walnut Grove, although we do have the athletic complex that will serve that general area in the west end of the county with the recreation softball play. The amphitheater is something the entire county, and it will probably be about a 5-acre area with a massive stage in front. We'll have lights that will do the laser shows that So we'll be able to have the shows at night when it's really hot in the summertime, and being able to light that entire 5-acre area. It's got a large pavilion area and a corporate kitchen with bathrooms there. The community center right outside will have 6 more pickleball courts, so the public will be able to use those. So there's a lot of things that are included in this park in this phase. And then the second phase, obviously down the road, we'll continue with soccer complex, dog park, maybe tennis or more pickleball complex down in that area, or a splash pad. We'll look at that point when we get closer to the second phase of what the trends are in the county and what we need. But the first phase is should be done by the end of October, latest the beginning of November. So we are on track to get that park done. The park at Crystal Park, where we added the new pickleball courts, we added 4 more courts on the inside, and you can become a member of the indoor pickleball court club. The cost is the same as our community centers, which is $2 per week per family is prorated. So right now it's just under $50 till the end of June. So if you want to be a member there are some tough times to actually use the indoor courts, because we're having to share that space with the 4-H Club's shooting sports, which is our BB teams and air rifle teams. So right now we're using it from 8 to 12 Monday through Friday. So if you're one of those that like to get over there and play in the morning times, there's usually, right now I think we've sold over 40 memberships to the indoor pickleball area. With that, we're going to add to those pickleball indoor areas when we renovate the Now Recreation Center, which is in downtown Monroe. Right now we're doing all the roofs, all that's being fixed up, the interior and exterior. We're going to do some facade work as well, and then we're going to go in and redo the floors, where we can not only play basketball in there during our basketball seasons, but we'll be able to have indoor pickleball courts there. And those are heated and cooled spaces for our indoor, so we'll be able to use it in the mornings and the evenings when we're not playing basketball in there. So we are expanding and looking for places for people to get out of the inclement weather. As we know, pickleball is a fun sport to play outside when the weather's great, but when the wind's blowing or it's raining, there's nowhere to play, or it's just too hot or too cold. So we are looking for spaces that we were using, but maybe they were being underused and only at night. So now we're going to be able to have those in the daytimes and the evenings for other sports. So that's how we're trying to expand there. I did want to mention we will have our craft fair. It's become a big hit in the area, where local crafters come in and showcase what they're making, and that will be March 21st over at Meridian Park. Most of the vending tables are filled, so we have a full house of people that want to showcase their products. But what we need is more individuals coming through the door. It's free to get in. You're welcome to walk around. There may even be some free samples or stuff like that out there. So come March 1st, rain or shine, to Meridian Park and check out what our local crafters are doing. Our spring registration is complete. Our numbers still continue to rise. Our baseball and softball tracks and soccer programs are beginning practice next week at the end of February, and we'll start games on March 15th. So looking forward to seeing everyone out there. Our GRPA, Georgia Recreation and Parks Association All-Star basketball teams are playing locally in their All-Star events this week, and then it will advance at the 1st of March to the state. So our next show will let you know how those teams represented Walton County. So until next time, thank you very much.
Hi, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts. Our elementary school show is coming in as we speak. By the time you see this, they'll be all ready for you to come see. I think we've got 7 schools, both public and private schools, in the show. Elementary is my favorite show of the year. It's happy, it's creative, it's colorful. Come in and see the show. You'll be cheered up. If you're feeling low one day, it's a rainy, cold day, come in and see the show. It'll cheer you right up. The reception to honor the artists is March 20th. So do come. Support the kids in Walton County. Support us. There'll be snacks and food and lots of cute kids here and families, so do come to the reception. You're invited. A couple of new things going on that have either started or just started in the last couple of weeks. We have Art X, which is our outreach to special needs young adults. That's for kids that are, or young adults that are 18 years old or older. And we're finding that special needs young adults kind of are at loose ends once they're through with high school. They're looking for connection, they're looking for friendships, they're looking for some structure to their days, something fun to do. And so we have a weekly class. It's on Tuesdays from 1 to 3 for special needs young adults. It's all on our website. You can go to monroewaltonarts.org to learn more about it, or give us a call here, or come visit, of course, and see what that's about. It is for higher functioning young adults who don't have emotional or behavioral problems, but are still maybe on the spectrum, have a brain injury, that kind of thing. So learn more about that. It's every Tuesday, and it's already started. Eileen Driscoll is the teacher for that class. She has extensive background with working with special needs kids, and she's an art teacher from Gwinnett County, now retired, but she's awesome. She really has a heart for these young adults, and we're really excited to launch this program. Also, Donna's Artistic Shelter has started, and it's once a month. It's for people who have had, recent in the last year or two, loss with a close family member. Donna works through, gives people tools, techniques, things to do to distract them. This isn't any kind of magic bullet that's going to heal anything, but it is going to help. And Donna, of course, is a bereaved parent who has lost a child as well. So she can speak from experience about things that you can do that when your mind is spiraling and you need a little help, she's there. So that's once a month.
We are so excited to be here today for the ribbon cutting grand reopening for the Loganville Chick-fil-A. I have known my friend Edgar Brush for many years, since my time at the Chamber for 30 years, so for quite a long time. And in 2021, I popped in one day and he's like, let me show you something. And he pulls out the plans for this new facility and explains to me how the traffic's going to flow and all the things, and it's so great to see it really come to fruition and be a reality. And the store looks absolutely fantastic, and congratulations to you, Edgar. This looks fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Mayor Skip Blythe is going to say a few words on behalf of Loganville.
I'm not a person who likes to speak very much. However, we would like to welcome the new chicken filet to our Loganville market. It's a beautiful place. Come and enjoy it, have fun, get in the drive-through lanes, get your orders in a hurry, and go and have a good meal, or come in and sit down. It's beautiful inside as well. So again, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. We are so looking forward to serving our community. We love Loganville. We've been a part of Loganville for over 26 years. And we just want to know that we really care about you. We really want you to come so that we can be my pleasure to serve you. Come to see us quick, Thursday. Thank you. As you can see, she's to my left, but she's always right, so she's usually on my right, okay? But this is Sylvia Brush, my lovely wife of 59 years.
Wow, that's super.
3. Pull tight. There you go.
Yeah, all right. Now I know.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference.